Okay, so sexually transmitted disease, we have topic syphilis, gonorrhea, and AIDS. Sexually transmitted disease or venereal disease are transmitted through viruses like HIV, AIDS. This disease is a sexually transmitted disease and it is spread through the virus. Chlamydia trachomatis cause lymphogranuloma, gonorrhea. Then one type of sexually transmitted disease is spread by bacteria, that is Neisseria gonorrhea. And Neisseria gonorrhea is a bacteria which causes gonorrhea, as well as syphilis is also spread by a bacteria. That bacteria is called as Trypanosoma pallidum. Okay, and protozoa, it is Trichomonas vaginalis, cause trichomoniasis. Okay, sexually transmitted disease can be spread by virus, chlamydia, bacteria, and protozoa. So mainly we have to discuss about the one which is transmitted by bacteria, like syphilis and gonorrhea is transmitted by bacteria, and AIDS transmitted by virus. So if you see this topic, the AIDS is the one which I have asked and most important. Okay, after AIDS, it is a syphilis. One time for 5 marks, they have asked explain the pathogenesis of syphilis. So syphilis we'll discuss. It is a sexually transmitted disease caused by Trypanosoma pallidum. It is a type of spirochete bacteria whose structure is like a spiral turning structure. That's why it is called as spirochete. So the main bacteria is Trypanosoma pallidum. They can ask for 2 marks also. What is the bacteria name which is called syphilis? That is Trypanosoma pallidum. The organism is detected only by a special stain. For this bacteria to detect, there is a special type of staining material like silver stain, dark field examination, and immune fluorescence technique. So these are the some technique of staining by which this Trypanosoma pallidum bacteria can be identified. Etiology for the syphilis is the bacteria, that is Trypanosoma pallidum, which is transmitted sexually. Yeah, so this bacteria gets entry in your body through soft mucous membrane. So whenever the person is doing sex, what happened during the sex is that the soft mucous membranes of the two persons gets rubbed each other. So if one person is having this bacteria, so through the rubbing of mucous membrane, this bacteria can enter into the uninfected person. Mode of transmission means through sexual intercourse, which leads to lesions on pelvis, vulva, vagina, and cervix. So through sexual intercourse and causing the lesions mainly in pelvis, vulva, vagina, and cervix. These are all the private part of the female. Then contact with the person having lesion on lips. Okay, person is having wounds or lesion on lips, tongue, fingers, and if you are coming in contact with such person, then it can lead to syphilis. Then it can lead through blood transfusion of infected person because this bacteria Trypanosoma pallidum is present in the infected person blood, and if that blood is getting transferred to other person, that bacteria can go to other person also. Then prenatal transmission, that is from infected mother to child through placenta. So this bacteria can also cross the placenta and it can come to child through the infected mother. So there are the mode of transmission, that is sexual intercourse through the contact, through the blood transfusion, and through the prenatal transmission. So this clinical feature is like primary stage, secondary stage, and tertiary stage. In primary stage, the keywords of this disease is chancre. Okay, CHANCRE is called chancre. So what is chancre? It is a red lesions. Okay, if you see the structure of Canker, then it looks like this. Okay, so this the rounded structure, and in this rounded structure at the middle there will be this bacterium, Trypanosoma pallidum, and this structure is called as Canker. So that is the keyword for the syphilis. The Canker, what is Canker? It is red lesions, shows dense inflammatory infiltrate of lymphocytes, plasma cells, and macrophage. So this is the kind of wounds that is called as Canker, where there is a lymphocytes, plasma cells, and macrophage. Aggregation of plasma cells is seen around the blood vessels. So in syphilis, the primary stage, what is going to happen is that the bacteria, if it is going to enter inside your body through a soft mucous membrane, then in that area they will develop a structure, a wound-like structure that is called as Canker. That is red lesion. Okay, so this is mainly this central part of this is having the bacteria surrounded by the cells like lymphocytes, plasma cells, and macrophage. Then secondary stage is characterized by mucocutaneous lesions on oral cavity, palms, and soles of feet. So now in primary stage, the canker was forming, and secondary stage there is mucus to cutaneous, that canker is spreading to cutaneous layer also, that is called as mucocutaneous lesion, and it may form on oral cavity, palms, and soles of feet. In secondary stage of syphilis, infiltration of monocytes. Yeah. So in the secondary stage, what is happening is monocytes and neutrophils are coming to that place, whereas in primary stage it was the lymphocyte, plasma cells, and macrophage which was coming to that place. But in secondary stage, it is the monocytes and neutrophils come to that place. But inflammation is less when compared to the syphilis. So in primary stage, inflammation is more. In secondary stage, inflammation is less. Then tertiary lesion stage shows two types of lesion. The first is diffuse lesion, and the second is called as gummas. So in tertiary stage, there is a diffuse lesion and there is a formation of gummas. So diffuse lesions are seen when spirochetes are spread all over the body. Okay, so in tertiary lesion, what is happening? This bacteria is going to spread all over the body, and it affects mainly the cardiovascular system and the central nervous system. So in tertiary lesion, the cardiovascular system and central nervous system is getting affected. So if it is a cardiovascular, then it is called as cardiovascular syphilis, and if it is central nervous system, then it is called as neurosyphilis. Cardiovascular syphilis lesions develops in aorta. Okay, so that wound is kind of lesion is developing in aorta. Hence, the aortic wall dilates and weakens. So because of that, aorta wall is getting dilated and weak. This results in aortic aneurysm. So aortic aneurysm, it is a condition where the wall of the artery gets dilated. So that is called as aortic aneurysm and incompetence of aortic valves. So cardiovascular syphilis, in this mainly the aorta is getting affected. In neurosyphilis, lesion affects the meaning of brain, that is called not meanings, it should be meninges. Okay, lesion affects the meninges of brain, that is called meningovascular syphilis, spinal cords, that is stapes dorsalis, and brain, that is called general paresis. Okay, so in tertiary stage, what is happening is diffuse lesion that is happening to the cardiovascular system and central nervous system. So we have cardiovascular cephalus and neocephalus. Then the second is called as gumas. What is gumas? You can see this structures, round structure is called gumas. On the right side, this is called canker. So gumas are localized rubbery lesions with a central necrotic area. So at in the center of such a structure, there is a necrosis of the cell and seen in the liver, testis, bone and brain. The guma lesions have a central necrotic material surrounded by palisade. So this structure outside, it is surrounded by a kind of cell that is called as palisade and fibroblast cells. The entire lesion is surrounded by mononuclear leukocytes and plasma cells, and this whole structure is again surrounded by mononuclear leukocytes and plasma cells. So in the tertiary, what is going to happen is there is a diffuse lesions as well as gumas is going to form, and in tertiary lesion it is going to spread to other body parts like cardiovascular and central nervous system. Okay, so this syphilis generally take place in stages: primary stages, secondary stages. In primary stages, it is only lying to on the surface of mucous membrane or skin. In secondary stage, it is going up to oral cavity, palms and soles, and tertiary stage is spreading to all over the body, including cardiovascular system and central nervous system. So that is the primary stage, secondary stage and tertiary stage of syphilis. Then the main things to understand in this topic, which has been asked for 5 marks, is pathogenesis of syphilis. So again, this is the one flowchart which is showing the phases, that is infection with Trypanosoma pallidum, then causing primary syphilis, then cause secondary syphilis, then there is a latent syphilis. So main thing is we have to understand this pathogenesis. So in pathogenesis, if you draw these flowcharts, that is enough. So what is happening in the pathogenesis of syphilis? See, the first we have to start with inoculation with Trypanosoma pallidum from direct contact with infected lesion. So what is happening? Trypanosoma pallidum bacteria is coming from infected person through direct contact and going for inoculation, then penetration into mucous membranes and microscopic abrasion in the skin. So when it comes in contact, then this bacteria penetrate into the mucous membrane and microscopic abrasions in the skin take place. So the main thing is that this bacteria, after getting contact, it comes into uninfected person, and they get entry into the body through the mucous membrane. As we know that our private parts, during sex, it gets rubbed each other, and mucous membrane is the best place for this bacteria to get inside your body. Then it leads to primary syphilis, that is 10 to 90 days of inoculation. Okay, and primary syphilis leads to local lymphatic infiltration. Means through the mucus, now this Trypanosoma pallidum is going to enter into the nearby lymphatic system, and it leads to regional lymphadenopathy. So there is enlargement of lymph node because of this bacteria getting entry into the lymphatic system. That is called regional lymphadenopathy. That is what happens in primary syphilis, as well as there is a dermal lymphocytes, macrophage, and lymphocytes infiltrate site of infection. Now the lymphocytes, macrophage, and lymphocyte is coming at site of infection. So where this bacteria infected the mucous membrane, at that place your immune system will the leukocytes, macrophage, and lymphocyte to that place of infection. Then there is in arteries and peri-arteries cause necrosis and ulceration. In arteries, what is in arteries? It is the inflammation of inner lining of arteries. Okay, so inner lining of arteries is getting inflammation, that is called end arteries, and peri-arteries is the inflammation of outer lining of arteries, as well as the tissues surrounding that arteries. So that outer covering and the tissues nearby, if it is going for inflammation, that is called as peri-arteries. So in the arteries and peri-arteries cause necrosis and ulceration, and this leads to painless cancer. So that structure is going to form, that is painless cancer, button-like papule evolving to ulceration with raised borders and overlying exudate. So this is actually the real definition of cancer. It is a button-like papule. Okay, it's like an ulcer, and the border surrounding it will have a raised border, and in the center there will be exudate, a liquid overlying exudate containing that bacteria Treponema pallidum. So that is primary syphilis. Primary syphilis left untreated or unresponsive to therapy. Okay, so if it is primary syphilis is left untreated, then it is going to convert into secondary syphilis, and it takes weeks, months after primary syphilis to develop. Okay, so in this secondary syphilis, what happened? Sphaerochaetes bacteria multiply and spread throughout the body. Okay, with varying dermal and systemic manifestations. So it is going to spread throughout the body and showing some skin problems and some blood related symptoms. So this is the secondary syphilis. Widespread dissemination. Dissemination means spreading, causing increase in antibody titers and inflammatory cytokines. So it is spreading throughout the body, so your immune systems will keep on producing antibody against this bacteria, as well as there is a release of inflammatory mediators, that is called cytokines. Then it leads to fever, sore throat, weight loss, malaise, anoxia, a headache, and lymphadenopathy. As well as there is infiltration causing epidermal hyperkeratosis, capillary proliferation, and endothelial swelling, which is leading to alopecia. What is alopecia? Your hair is going to lost in the form of patches, that is patch or moth-eating hair loss pattern on scalp, that is called as alopecia. Then this causes maculae lesions, discrete pink to reddish brown lesions that are round to oval. Then papulosquamous lesions, that is scaly reddish papules on palms, soles, or feet. Then condyloma lata lesions, wart-like pink to tan lesion on moist area. So this is the manifestation of secondary syphilis, and secondary syphilis left untreated or unresponsive to therapy, then it will go for the latent syphilis and tertiary syphilis. Latent syphilis occurs when secondary syphilis resolves. Tertiary syphilis, it is a rare, occurs months to years after primary lesions. So this is the flow chart you have to draw for the pathogenesis of syphilis. That bacteria after contact it get entry through the mucous membrane, then leads to primary syphilis. Primary syphilis, if it is not treated, leads to secondary syphilis. In secondary syphilis, this bacteria is not confined to the skin and mucous membrane, but it is spreading all over the body. Okay, and this secondary syphilis, if it is not treated, it can convert into latent syphilis and tertiary syphilis. And these are the manifestation and clinical symptoms of primary syphilis, and these are the clinical symptoms of secondary syphilis. Okay, so this is the way by which you have to explain the pathogenesis of syphilis. So next is gonorrhea, that is also a sexually transmitted disease. Gonorrhea is a bacterial infection caused by Neisseria gonorrhea. So this bacteria which causes this gonorrhea is Neisseria gonorrhea, which is gram-negative diplococcic bacteria, which is sexually transmitted. The causative agent is Neisseria gonorrhea, which is transmitted sexually and infects the genital mucous membrane of both the sexes. Symptoms: it affects the cervix, ureter, that is yellow or bloody, then bleeding associated with vaginal intercourse, then pain or burning sensation during voiding, development of pelvic inflammatory disease, irritation and discharge from the anus, then irritation and discharge from the anus, that is infection of fallopian tubes, and ectopic pregnancy could occur. So these all are the symptoms associated with the gonorrhea in the female. So in gonorrhea, what is going to happen is it is not going to cause like what is happening in syphilis, like lesions, canker, but there is abnormal discharge in gonorrhea. In male, there is pus from the penis, yellow or white discharge from the penis, burning sensation during micturition. So this is a gonorrhea where there is like common symptoms are like a pus kind of discharge, as well as there will be a burning sensation during passing the urine, irritation and discharge from the anus, painful bowel movement with fresh blood on the feces, then inflammation of the testicles and prostate gland. So first what happens, first go through what is the difference between syphilis and gonorrhea, so that way you can remember. See, in the syphilis, this is caused by a type of bacteria. If not treated, syphilis can infect many parts of the body, causing major health problems, even death. Most people have no symptoms of syphilis. The first sign of syphilis may be a painless, smooth sore at the site of infection. Syphilis is easily treated in the early stage. Other symptoms of syphilis are warts and skin rash. So this is see the structures on the private parts. This is canker, or you can say ulcer kind of, or sore is forming. That is the syphilis, whereas in gonorrhea you can see gonorrhea is caused by the bacteria. This disease often occurs at the same time. Gonorrhea often have no symptoms. When symptoms do occur, they appear 2 to 21 days, that is 3 weeks, after contact with an infected person, and symptoms of the gonorrhea may include a discharge from woman's vagina or man's penis, painful or frequent urination, pain in the pelvis or abdomen. So generally students get confused between syphilis and gonorrhea. So with these 2-3 points you remember the difference between syphilis and gonorrhea. Okay, syphilis is the one where there is a formation of canker or sore or ulcers. Okay, but in gonorrhea there is no such a structure is forming, only the infection is causing the release of white discharge from woman's vagina and man's penis, as well as painful and frequent urination. Okay, so that is the main difference between syphilis and gonorrhea. Some more difference is given like this. Syphilis is caused by Trypanosoma pallidum. Gonorrhea is caused by Neisseria gonorrhea. Important question for 2 marks. They can ask the name of bacteria. Immunity resist reinfection. Here non-resist reinfection. Time long period of time until show full effect. Okay, so the syphilis take long period, whereas gonorrhea take 2 to 21 days to show the full effect. Process have 4 stages, which are so in syphilis, this syphilis take place in stages, but in gonorrhea there is no stages. So what is the 4 stages of syphilis? Primary stage, secondary stage, latent, and tertiary stage. So this is the 4 stages through which syphilis take place. Symptoms: there will be wound at the infection section in the syphilis, whereas in gonorrhea there is no wound, but what is there? There is a fistula P. Fistula P means discharge or difficult urination. Way to be transmitted: syphilis, vaginal, anal or oral sex, non-sexual contact, if the source, that is cankers, rashes or mucus patches caused by syphilis, and so mainly you remember the difference between syphilis and gonorrhea. And the thing is, the important is the pathogenesis of syphilis, that is asked for 5 marks. Then gonorrhea, you just remember what is the bacteria, what is happens in males, what happens in female. Then this is pathogenesis. Okay, so that is not important. If you want, you can read this. Okay, after this syphilis and gonorrhea. So gonorrhea pathogenesis, little I will explain, try to understand, otherwise you can leave also, no problem. This there is a neonatal transmission, there is sexual transmission, and there is auto-inoculation. In neonatal transmission, there is a direct contact of patient mucus with mother's infected mucus, while traveling down the birth. So during delivery, the baby can get infected through the mother's infected mucosa. That is neonatal transmission. In sexual transmission, direct contact of patient mucus with infected mucosa. Autoinoculation, immediate transfer of bacteria to patient mucosa via indirect contact with infected mucosa. So sexual transmission is a direct contact and autoinoculation is indirect. So what happened? Bacterial components including pili. So pili is an important component of this Neisseria gonorrhea. It's like hair-like structure. Pili and other proteins allow the adherence to the host mucosal cells. So this bacteria through the hair-like structure that is called pili gets attached with the host mucosal cells. Attachment to the mucosal cell surface. Bacterial porins and proteins form pores. So by this bacteria, Neisseria gonorrhea bacteria is having porins and proteins that is going to form a hole in the host cell membrane, and through that hole it is going to enter inside the host cell, that is through endocytosis. Then bacteria invade and replicate within epithelial cells. After coming this Neisseria gonorrhea bacteria through hole, it enters into the cell, and into the cell this bacteria is going to replicate, and during this what happen, your immune system is going to act, and your immune system attack is successful. Then there is a successful removal of pathogens, and pathogen clearance are from the host. Bacterial phagocytosis by circulating monocytes, and your immune system monocytes will come and they do the phagocytosis, and they will take the bacteria. Unsuccessful eradication of pathogen. Then this phagosomes containing this bacteria, if it is not getting fused with lysosomes, then there is a survival and replication within the leukocyte phagolysosomes. Okay, so that bacteria is going to survive and replicate, like how we discussed in pathogenesis of tuberculosis. That is this bacteria is replicating. Then spreading of pathogen, that is called dissemination of pathogens. Then multifactorial process leads to ability to avoid host immunity. So there are many factors which cause this bacteria to escape from the immunity, and it leads to antigen variation of proteins and LPS on bacteria. Masking of gonococcal antigens by LPS prevents binding of bactericidal antibodies and cause incomplete activation of complement system. So there is activation of complement system. Then there is a molecular mimicry, that is terminal LPS sugars similar to host glycolipids, and secretion of immunoglobulin A proteases. Then blocking antigens by binding host antibodies to a bacterial reduction modifiable proteins, and this all is leading to escape from the host immunity. And the bacteria, when it escapes the immune system, then it is going to produce the sign and symptoms of gonorrhea. So this syphilis pathogenesis, if you remember, that is enough. Even if they ask gonorrhea, you can write like the entry of the bacteria, So mainly the disease, infectious disease, where the bacteria is entering into the body, your immune system is attacking, doing the phagocytosis, and during this process they release some chemical mediators of inflammation. So in addition of killing the bacteria, they also cause the inflammation. So that's why the inflammation of the nearby tissues in the respective organs cause some kind of symptoms of that particular disease. So that way always you remember whenever you get some pathogenesis for such a disease where there is external agent is entering into your body, so always the concept will be the same. So syphilis, gonorrhea, sexually transmitted disease, and AIDS. So its main thing was the pathogenesis, and rest how it spreads. That's all we have discussed already. Okay, AIDS pathogenesis we have already discussed. Okay, so